I'm from the Bay Area, from a little small town called Atherton.
Atherton, California, the richest town in America.
I have always loved shopping. So these are custom Jimmy Choo crystal heels. My sales associate from Dior sent me the giant box. Our local Bulgari closed the boutique for a private visit.
The elephant in the room is that you're a billionaire.
I'm stuck in my home elevator. So I like to add a little bit of caviar just for seasoning purposes.
Having that much wealth is just unethical.
My suitcase room's a mess right now, but I'm thinking we go with the red.
You poor people, come and watch me pack my $90,000 Louis Vuitton wedding box.
I never knew that people would actually want to watch me.
Like, you are idolizing Becca Bloom because of her wealth.
I lost $500,000 today due to a bad investment, so I bought myself a little pity gift.
If you won the lottery and suddenly had unlimited wealth to do whatever you wanted, how would you spend it? How would you do rich right?
Oh, look who it is. It's time for my ab workout.
You ready to skate, Molly?
You know it, extreme sports legend Tony Hawk.
When you think of a rich person that people say does rich right, what comes to mind? Philanthropy, charity, maybe a modest lifestyle, someone with real values who uses their money to make the world a little better.
Houses we almost bought but didn't. This was my favorite house by far, but the location was just too far away from the school districts we were looking at, as well as my parents' homes.
But what about using those piles of money to generate views, clicks, and engagement instead? Drawing viewers in with displays of flashiness far beyond their own means, selling it as a peek into the glamorous life of the ultra-rich, when in reality, it's just another strategy to keep getting richer.
Suddenly you want equality when the bill hits the table. And until society becomes statistically equal, you cannot cherry pick equality only in moments where it allows you to contribute less.
Because, you know, what's the point of being financially secure if you can't rage bait the entire internet into building your empire while everyone else questions their life choices?
Oh, okay.
Unless, of course, all that flashiness is just a cover for an expensive secret hiding just out of frame.
Hi, hello. Would you all please come with me? I just killed someone.
Becca Bloom has become one of the most divisive internet figures in recent memory. Half the internet loves her content and sees her as a role model to aspire to.
Her aura is just so calm and humble and grounded.
And on the other side, there are people who can't stand what she represents and view her wealth hoarding as unethical.
The issue with Becca Bloom is that when you get to a certain level of wealth, your lifestyle just isn't sustainable anymore. Jumping in a plane 10 times a week just for funsies to see the world is great for your personal growth, but it's not great for the rest of us because you're spewing carbon emissions into the air.
Buried inside every scroll, every haul, every private jet selfie is the goal to make you believe in Becca Bloom, the seemingly flawless queen of RichTok. She sells aspiration, a life of impossible privilege, quiet luxury, and wealth so vast it appears completely effortless.
I put my husband's credit card into a wand. Let's go shopping. First stop is Chanel. You guys accept magic?
But effortlessness is her most expensive illusion of all. In many ways, the story of Becca Bloom is just a highlight reel, strategically cropped to hide the rot at the foundation of where her wealth actually came from. We as viewers were drawn in by the glitter of a $6.25 million wedding, if you can imagine, a Versace plated cat dish, and a world where buying a new computer just for a laptop case is a punchline.
Okay, please don't judge me for this, but I fell in love with the laptop case, but they don't make it in my 15-inch size. It's only in 14-inch, so I decided to buy a new laptop today to fit that laptop case because it was just so pretty.
But behind the curated perfection, there are whispers of a financial house of cards, like a fortune built on alleged stock market fraud, inherited, not earned, and a reality seemingly so manufactured that her own home is potentially nothing more than a wealthy family's production studio. Is the empire of Becca Bloom truly fueled by engagement and aspirational content, or is she covering for her family's potential legacy of lies?
I finished it off with my daily bird spit.
Because if that carefully maintained wealth, you know, the one that she flaunts to keep you watching, is fake or is from very unethical means, what does that say about the glorification and normalization of billionaires as a whole when the rest of the 99% of the world is suffering?
The economy, jobs, prices, and inflation rank as the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 issues for U.S. consumers.
I've had to take on a second job just because everything has gotten so expensive.
America and American capitalism has put lifestyle behind a paywall.
What we'll uncover today will reveal a perfect storm, in my opinion, of mysterious factors that make the story of Becca Bloom far less black and white. Shameful family secrets, the affordability crisis, misogynistic outrage, and the attention economy that may have finally pushed the internet to its breaking point, all wrapped up in a $100,000 designer bow.
Becca Bloom commented on my TikTok, which is great. I want discourse because she posted a video talking about equality, and I just think the elephant in the room is that you're a billionaire. So what do you know about equality?
You were told to hate Becca Bloom, but do you know why?
I'm sorry, but it is corny as hell if you are ultra rich and you also want to be an influencer. I'm not talking about like millionaire rich, I'm talking about billions rich.
What is the true story? And this is what we know. There's one thing at the root of almost everything in our society. Money. Everyone has to live by it, depend on it, and whether they like it or not, think about it just to survive. But at what point does money stop being just a currency and start becoming a personality trait for those fortunate to have more than enough?
My parents just gave me this giant box. Everything my husband got me for Christmas. So the main thing I got this year was a pair of diamond studs. First is this giant pink and blue checkered coat.
We're 10,000 feet in the air right now, and we're gonna have co-pilot decide where we land.
You don't scare me. Work on it.
Becca Bloom's content isn't serious, but the reaction it stirs within the viewers very much is. The way she shows off the riches of her endless bank account lifestyle has divided the internet between those who believe she's doing rich right, whatever that means, and those who see her very existence as unethical.
Becca Bloom is classless. I'm a hater of rich-ass people.
She is just quite literally opening the door into her life.
If your career is made off of flaunting your wealth, classless.
She's not doing it for views. She's not like making people pay her.
When someone can't control you, they will try to control how others see you. Psychology says that this behavior is deeply primal.
Now, it seems like ever since people realized that outrage, performs well online, driving clicks and comments and engagement, it has increasingly shaped the kinds of content being made. And few things are as shiny, outrageous, and endlessly clickable as a rich lifestyle being flaunted to the excess. I mean, have you seen the Kardashians and the Jenners? It never ends. But I digress. Becca Bloom is well aware of this whole rage phenomenon. In one of her published Substacks, she even says, quote, "Before social media, I thought good content meant thoughtful content. Now I understand it means retained attention." Well, she's got our attention. With a creator like Becca Bloom, she really can't lose no matter your opinion on her wealth. She draws you in with the flashiness and you form an opinion where you're either envious and glorifying her or you're outraged and villainizing her. Either way, she's winning. But is she showing off just to rage bait the entire internet into building her following? Or is this just a rich girl's version of a truly authentic online presence?
Let's clean it together while I spill some tea.
Is giving away money for views too performative to really count as charity? Or should we be grateful someone's doing it even if it benefits them in the end? We're gonna ask those tough questions.
Pack my Easter eggs with me. I'm gonna hide these in random locations for people to find.
But first, if you're seeing me for the first time, welcome. My name is Swoop, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and commentary creator with a lot of opinions, and I make what we call Swoop docs on complex stories about people and events that impact our lives. Some who are misunderstood, and some who abuse their power, because as I always say, it's not drama, it's dangerous. We are the community of critical thinkers. We dig deep into the evidence, present multiple perspectives, and play devil's advocate for deeper understanding. So thank you for being here with us. Now, I do want to say really quick, the last Swoop doc that I released was the Epstein doc, and I just want to thank all of you so much, those of you who watched it, for your unbelievable support of that documentary. My team and I put our hearts and soul into that piece. I literally spent the better part of the last year in the research for that piece. Now, it was heavily suppressed in a way that I have not seen happen before. I was quite surprised by it. I had so so many messages from you saying that you were not, that you did not receive notifications about it. You had no idea that it was up. And so I just want to let you know that it is up. I also want to clarify that this piece is intentionally not going into the actual accounts from the survivors of what was done to them. I wanted to make this piece as accessible as possible. So if you would do me a favor, if you haven't watched that, please do click it. I'll have it linked below. You can click it and you can play it, watch it, engage with it, help us combat some of the suppression that happened with that piece in particular. It would mean the world to me. And thank you again so much for those of you who have already seen it. Also got Dr. Oz coming up. We've got Oprah coming up and some other really big stories. Oh my gosh, y'all aren't even ready for that. So if you thought Dr. Phil was wild, get ready for Dr. Oz. Oh my gosh. And then Oprah. Ha! Yeah, all that's coming soon. So if all of that sounds good to you, could I ask one simple favor? We are on the road to 1 million subscribers, which blows my mind. I think we have like 6,000 subscribers left and then we're at 1 million. That just literally just hit me right now as I was saying that out loud. That is so wild. I am so thankful for each and every one of you being here. And I do want to say that when I look at the numbers, about 59% of you who watch every single Swoop doc, you listen every week, are not yet subscribed, and you might even think that you are. So would you be so kind as to hit subscribe and join me on this journey? We are so close. It is the free and easy way to support the work that I and my team do here. And the best part is, what I am so committed to is by having you subscribe, I'm promising that the bigger we get, the bigger the stories we get to cover. More interview work, more investigative work. That's where my heart is, and I'm so excited to be on this journey with all of you. Also, if you didn't know, I do have a second channel called Swoop 2, where there we do little skinny dips, little dips. And you can also join us on Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to 4 more videos per month, plus the entire back catalog and the free newsletter. There are free pieces of content that I post on Patreon, so make sure you want to sign up there and you'll never miss a single update. Now, real quick before we dive in, I've got a spicy question. When's the last time you treated yourself? And no, I'm not just talking about skincare and a bubble bath. I've got just the thing to make you sing, honey, and why I am so excited for today's sponsor, Bellesa. My friends at Bellesa and I are literally sending out free toys or gift cards for toys for everyone who signs up to my giveaway. Listen, we love free gifts around here, shipped and delivered in very discreet plain boxes so you can feel confident and private. Now, y'all have heard me gush about how much I love Bellesa. Bellesa is a by women company for all things personal wellness. And what I love most, I mean, besides their toys, obviously, is that Bellesa's mission is all about empowering you to embrace, explore, and celebrate you on your terms. No stigmas attached. Now, I've got some goodies in their very discreet cases, so you'll just have to tap my link to see what's inside. But some of my favorites are the Flutter Vibe that has dual stimulation with added precision and fluttering, and yes, we love it. There's also the Thump, which is basically like the masterclass of toys because it basically does it all. It vibes, it suctions, it thumps. It is amazing, okay? Just take my word for it. Now, both of these babies are made with premium quality super soft silicone, are waterproof and rechargeable. They also have this incredible Thermo Vibe, which is a mind-blowing full spectrum experience that lets you play with fire and ice. It has both a heating and cooling function that reaches a toasty 107 degrees Fahrenheit and cools down to an exhilarating 60 degrees. Also, you have to check out their LGBTQ+ collection. It's literally curated to celebrate every body, every identity. Everything in this section is designed to help you explore, connect, and feel empowered in your personal journey. Actually, I'll say Bellesa is so dedicated to empowering you that let's say you have like a mischievous little fur baby dog around who maybe accidentally destroyed your toy. Bellesa's policy is to replace all dog destroyed toys in exchange for a cute little photo of your pup, and I just love that. I'm telling you, friends, do not miss this huge giveaway. Everyone who has ever gotten something from Bellesa, when I see in the comments, is always saying, oh my gosh, I love them so much. And yes, I understand. Same, honey. So tap my link in the description because my friends at Bellesa and I are literally sending out free toys or gift cards for toys to everyone who signs up to my giveaway. So treat yourself, honey. You deserve it. Okay, back to the doc. Allow me to formally introduce you to Rebecca Ma, known online as Becca Bloom, one of the internet's most recent and fastest rising stars. So what exactly did she go viral for? You know, singing the Wide Awake challenge with perfect pitch? No? Dancing the choreography to a Chanel?
Reasons that you gotta.
Not quite. Becca Bloom's unprecedented rise to viral superstardom on TikTok is almost entirely due to her wealth.
If you're new here, I'm getting married in the Folie de Pré necklace from Van Cleef. I saw this originally in the Van Cleef High Jewelry Show.
Her riches and the extravagant ways that she's showcasing them to anyone willing to not scroll past, earning her the title Queen of RichTok. Can you imagine having that title?
Becca wants all of her wallpaper hand painted on silk, but she'll reuse every Ziploc bag and she'll get mad at me if I use more than half a piece of paper towel.
It's because it's wasteful.
What the hell are you talking about?
Her bright luxury flame of stardom has burned brightly over the past year, and now some people online argue that her flame should be extinguished.
The issue with Becca Bloom is that when you get to a certain level of wealth, your lifestyle just isn't sustainable anymore.
I'm not part of this. RichTok is the corner of the internet filled with influencers who gain and maintain their following by showing off their immense wealth, because who wouldn't want to see how the rich live?
What you doing?
I'm taking canned goods to school for the needy.
That's $2.89 worth of food.
Now, usually RichTokers fall into one of two categories that Becca Bloom doesn't seem to fit so neatly into, mostly because of the ambiguity surrounding how she amassed her wealth. First, there's, the rich kids of Instagram, it's the new reality show, those who were born into wealth, the new money, and those like Skylar Chase, a Columbia University student with over 1.5 million followers. I mean, get it, girl.
Things I thought were normal growing up rich with photographic evidence. We all know how moms have diaper bags, right? This was mine. It was a Birkin 30. Let's just say my mom was iconic and she was the OG Birkin mom.
And the second category, the self-made RichTokers who started out offering their viewers educational or entertaining content, but then kind of lose relatability with every new sale that they make, like Jaclyn Hill and the recent controversy around her.
I feel like I am trying to run through mud to connect with my followers at this point.
Or there's Miss Mikayla.
And you're gonna wanna sit down for this video.
Take it in, I know. RichTokers offer a peek behind the curtain into a world of shopping sprees and carefree conversations about money that to most people feel like a completely different reality.
What does she want? How much does she want to spend?
Probably close to 60.
60,000.
Yeah.
Okay, you can tell her $25,000 tops, and that's all she's gonna get from Dad on this trip.
The reality is, Becca has always been wealthy. She just recently decided to turn that privilege into content. Now, she grew up in the quote-unquote small town of
Atherton. I went to school in Los Angeles where I studied business, economics, and minored in law.
Hey, listen, just so you know, Atherton has actually been the most expensive zip code in the entire United States. So, real small town vibes and all.
Small town called Atherton.
Super relatable, oh my gosh.
Atherton is located about 30 miles south of San Francisco in Silicon Valley. It's one town over from Menlo Park, where Meta is based, and 2 towns over from Palo Alto, the home of Stanford and Sand Hill Road, which we will get to shortly. Within 40 miles of Atherton are 5 of the 8 most valuable companies on planet Earth.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? What is that like?
I mean, it's 1 banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10?
Rebecca Ma lived a humble life as the daughter of billionaires. And no, I can't say that with a straight face.
Throw me a frickin' bone here.
According to Today, her parents, quote, co-founded China-based technology company Camelot Information Systems. In 2010, Camelot Information Systems went public, listed on the New York Stock Exchange before going private in 2014, according to the documents from the US Securities and Exchange Commission. According to a 2013 SEC filing, the equity value of Camelot was $98.2 million. And in all honesty, it's giving gold medal in the Nepo Olympics, even to this day.
I thought I was done opening presents, but my parents just gave me this giant box. Oh my goodness. How does this thing open now?
So she's not new to this. Oh no, she's true to this. But one question that we'll be exploring throughout this doc is whether or not her family's wealth was obtained fully legally. To Becca's credit, based on the reporting that we found, it doesn't seem like she simply rested on the lush laurels of her parents' credit cards like some other rich talkers. Sorry, y'all, I'm in a mood today. I'm in a rich mood, okay? I'm a rich bitch in my mind. Apparently that's where it counts, right? Now, according to Today, Becca Bloom allegedly started 3 businesses in high school and, quote, there was a focus on STEM education, and noticing that boys were pushed more into the field than girls. Ma said that she forced herself to improve her math skills in order to compete.
STEM, women in STEM, 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 women in STEM. I believe in women in STEM.
Now, the ambitious self-motivation to start 3 businesses in high school does kind of seem like only something a teenager with immense parental financial backing can do. I mean, you know, the rest of us could only start 1, maybe 2 LLC lemonade stands before college if we're lucky. And also, like, no shade to that. If you have the resources and the ability to start businesses, it does take a certain dedication to start businesses, period, right? I have a small business myself, and it is an exhausting amount of work that you would never realize when you're going into it. So the idea of starting 3 and multiple is just, it's a lot. I'm not gonna take that away from a woman in particular.
I mean, I would guess they'll be bankrupt by the end of this sentence.
Now, in a 2020 Zoom interview with LaunchX, an entrepreneur program for high schoolers that Becca used to be enrolled in, she detailed how she's been grinding from an early age.
Me and 2 other of my co-founders at the time, we started Solar Shade, which was a solar-powered umbrella that we could charge your phones in, laptops in, at the beaches and cafes as well. That led me to my junior year in high school, where I decided to start my own business, StudyPal, which was a peer-to-peer tutoring platform. After I sold StudyPal 2 years ago, I started another business, which was wireless charging, called Hearth Technologies, where we sold directly to Amazon.
Now, she's been flexing on the grid all the way back since her high school days too. But lately it seems that she's turned her entrepreneurial eye to crafting the perfect social media presence to turn herself into the brand. She is the brand, and her wealth into the unique market offering. All of this context is crucial to understanding Becca Bloom, because almost all of her content, from, you know, her biggest wins to her biggest controversies, surround her relationship to her personal wealth and her family's wealth. Take, for instance, her most popular video with 67 million views of her mom sleeping on a private jet while a phone cradle manipulates her daily step counter.
I don't know what is going on, but somewhere our wires got crossed.
Listen, if that's what being rich buys you, this little swaying phone thing to fake your steps, and then you're like, hey doctor, I got my steps in. It's like, I guess you can afford to not do your steps, because if you have a medical issue, you can afford the medical bills as well. My gosh, can we just get reasonable health insurance? Anyways, there was also this wildly popular video with 25 million views where she plates her cat's sushi grade salmon sashimi and caviar on a Versace charger plate. That might be the most fucking unhinged string of words I have ever formulated into a sentence. And no, my billing department is not getting fed this fancy, okay? They wish. It's, they're gonna have to get jobs if they want that to happen.
I started TikTok to make my cat go viral, but I'm actually secretly allergic to him.
Now, there's a reason Miss Bloom has gained over 5.5 million followers on TikTok in just a little over a year. People really seem to love the way that she does rich right. Their words, not mine.
I love seeing rich people do rich correctly. I love seeing people sit in their wealth so comfortable. Becca Bloom, for example, when she comes on this app and she's like, oh, I love this laptop case so much, so I just had to go and buy a new laptop so that it would fit. Yes, ma'am. Yes, bitch. Like, period. And I think it's so fucking annoying when rich people and celebrities and people who are well off and we know it try to act like they're relatable and like, bitch, no. I want to see what your money has afforded you in life. I want to see the luxurious things that you buy. I want to see where the we're going. I want to live vicariously through you.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Wealth flexing is not my taste in content, okay? But some of her posts, some of them are funny. I'll give you, some some of them are funny, okay? I told you we're gonna have more nuanced conversation here, and we're gonna play several different perspectives to give us a well-rounded opinion of this, and some of her stuff is funny.
My friend's boyfriend turned his location off, so we're gonna do a quick little OOTD as we go on a search mission to go find him. As you can see, I've secured a helicopter for aerial surveillance. We have binoculars and a walkie-talkie to communicate our findings. Copy that.
One of the reasons her fans says she does rich right is because her content often mirrors relatable things that most women already do, just with the price tag turned all the way up to 11.
These go to 11.
And she's not just living in some fantasy world. Becca Bloom is very educated and willing to share how she maintains her wealth with her followers.
Things my parents taught me about money that schools didn't. Schools teach you how to earn money, but very few people teach you how to multiply it, and that difference is everything. First is that you don't build real money on salary alone. If your only income is tied to your time, then your growth is capped at 24 hours a day. I try to keep 5 income streams at all times, whether that be exposure to broad market ETFs, equity, real estate. Some people have a side business. Next, the younger you are, the more risk you can take. In your 20s and 30s, that means heavily allocating your money into equities rather than overloading on bonds. With decades ahead of you, volatility is uncomfortable but not catastrophic. Lastly, any cash sitting in your bank is losing value. Inflation averages about 3% long term, so that means your money halves in value every 20 years if it just sits there.
I didn't go to school for math.
And while all these aspects of her content may be entertaining for some, I'm not entirely convinced that they necessarily qualify as doing rich right? Like, to me, doing rich right, and I'm not talking about billionaires, because I have listen, billionaires, why do we have them? Why are they here? But beyond that, doing rich right to me, if that's a thing, looks more like building schools for underserved children, funding better healthcare initiatives, because somebody's got to do it, creating shelters for the unhoused, providing food and hygiene services for people in need, or supporting candidates who actually do productive work, or helping fund home loans for people who could otherwise never afford one. Maybe that's just me, but we'll get into more of the doing rich right in a minute. When you look at Becca Bloom's videos through that lens, it becomes easier to see that a lot of her following isn't necessarily built on admiration for how she uses her wealth. It's built on the intrigue of watching an extremely flashy, rich life unfold in public. To be as fair as I can here, more fair than I think maybe some people have been, setting the obvious, out of touch influencer argument aside for a quick moment. I think that's pretty obvious, right? We have seen what's going on in the world. We have seen what's going on in this country. There are literally wars happening. People can't get food on their plates. What do you mean you're flexing and flaunting all of this exorbitant amount of wealth while people are literally starving and dying? We'll put that aside for a minute. Her personality is, again, like I said, just funny. She's intelligent, she's educated. She always seems to balance the absurdity of her wealth lifestyle with a bit of a sense of humor. I think that's what makes her content endearing to the people who love it.
I went grocery shopping in LA this morning, and can anyone tell me why your strawberries are individually packed like this? We don't have this back home. This is what they look like. Tastes like a normal strawberry.
And again, she's very highly educated, but I think more so than any of that, she speaks in this very soft voice, which seems to be one of the reasons people thinks that she isn't flaunting her wealth, which is it's a strange take in my opinion, because she clearly is flexing her wealth. But okay, I guess because she does it in a soft spoken voice, then it's not flaunting or something. Listen, I understand, like, it's obnoxious. You see these very, very loud people you got what's that fucking guy's name? Oh, I can't stand him. What's it? Jack Doherty. Jack fucking Doherty. Can't stand that guy, right? Loud about his money. Ugh, if you want to see I did a Swoop 2 on him if you want to see that. But the videos that Becca makes showing off her lifestyle they're kind of covered in this demure haze. It's very soft, it's very subtle. This is just what's going on in the world. This is just what's going on in my closet today. And so people will comment things like, quote, "See, this is quiet wealth." Again, whatever the fuck that means, because listen. We're we're gonna move on. This repeated sentiment throughout her comment section leads me to believe another large reason people believe she does rich right is simply because she's not all, again, Jake and Logan Paul about it. She's not Mikayla 2.0, AKA my sleep paralysis nightmare. No, Becca is quieter. She's humble and has a small presence, which is true for her personality, but not necessarily true for the kinds of things she makes videos about. Now, I'm gonna be real. Not only do I respectfully disagree that this is quiet wealth, I mean, she's literally doing hauls talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry every 3 to 5 business days. Just because her voice is soft doesn't mean this isn't very, very loud, like I said. But putting that aside, if we play a little counterpoint perspective here, a little devil's advocate, as we always do in a Swoop Talk, whether I agree with one thing or the other, as much as I disagree about this being quiet wealth or riching right, I can also see the counterpoint, that the very idea of accepting a woman when she's quiet versus a loud woman is, in my opinion, inherently misogynistic, or it definitely can be, right? And is often targeted around women of color. The narrative around what society deems an acceptable, wealthy woman perpetuates misogynistic tropes that in order for, women to be celebrated as successful in any level, I'm not talking about Becca Bloom right now or billionaires or any of that, I'm just talking about a success of any level. In order for a woman to be acceptable success, they often must make themselves smaller, quieter, and less threatening. I have to do that all the time as a black woman. Can't be the angry black woman now, can we? And why is that? Why do women have to shrink themselves to be palatable to society? Well, I think we all know the answer to that, but I'll just leave the rhetorical question. But also not leaving it, I will say, meanwhile, there's a clear double standard for men who are often celebrated for success when their personalities are loud and frankly impossible to escape. No matter how many times I block their damn names from every social media platform, they still pop up.
This is a $1 billion rocket ship, a future technology that will one day take you all the way to Mars to live in.
Shut up, shut up, shut up! It's all your fault!
So, are we saying that Becca Bloom is doing rich right because she's maintaining some sort of vague relatability or acceptability by being a soft-spoken, small in appearance woman? Or are we saying she's doing rich right because she fits into this perfect little box that doesn't make everyone else feel uncomfortable? Is it riching right? Or is it just strategic? Let me ask this question. If someone like Jaclyn Hill, for example, made all of the exact same videos but was loud, would people say that she's riching right? It was the exact same content? And I just, as a quick aside, and then we'll move on, I have to mention the narrative around Becca Bloom being perfect can potentially play into harmful racial microaggressions towards the Asian community of being the, or expected to be the perfect other race, okay? Just have to acknowledge that.
Part of like how white supremacy works to kind of like cover up is to say like, well, if this one group of minorities is doing so well, then there can't be racism in this country. We as Asian Americans have to understand that we are props for white supremacy when we buy into the idea that all of this stuff that we've gotten is purely through our hard work.
I wonder like how much of my interests are shaped by what other people expect of me versus what I expect of myself.
When someone can't control you, they will try to control how others see you. Psychology says that this behavior is deeply primal. Researchers at Stanford University have discovered that gossip and social sabotage are instinctive survival tools. They're hardwired into us. 92% of human conversations about other people are evaluative, meaning that we're not just spreading information, we are shaping perception. We're deciding this person is good and this person is dangerous. It's subconscious social programming.
However cute her videos may be, and as much as she tries to control others' perceptions of her, which is a thing we'll get into, now, all of her opulence being broadcast to the world's For You page inherently comes with a major disconnect from the everyday person, which is part of the reason these videos get so many views, right? The intrigue is so shiny. People can't look away, and I get it. And nowadays, you'll find two perspectives that are less about her money flex and more about the person behind it. You'll get those telling you that they love her, and those telling you that they hate her. Not the wealth part, but her. So, which is justified? Let me know in the comments so far where you are, your opinions of this as we continue to peel back this story.
I would say the vast majority of people that you are regularly coming in contact with in your media is rich. And I think that very heavily skews our perception of wealth and how we think about ourselves in the world. And I think it has a huge detriment to our everyday lives.
So regardless of where you sit and how you feel about Becca Bloom, it's fair to say that the general outrage towards her public flaunting of wealth has a lot of validity to it. But it makes sense that these conversations are at the forefront of a lot of people's minds right now, right? As we find ourselves in this very K-shaped economy where the wealth gap just seems to grow bigger every freaking day, and billionaires continue to avoid doing things like, I don't know, paying taxes or literally any consequence for anything.
Economies can be classified in a few different ways as they rebound from a recession. Economists have widely agreed that the US has been in a K-shape coming out of the pandemic.
Being ultra wealthy, hyper privileged and wasting money behind closed doors is one thing, but doing it to the point of flexing on the general public who is struggling to even put food on their table is another. And there are only so many rage bait spending sprees some people can sit through before feeling fed up and or triggered by it. And I also understand the conversation of like, it's not their responsibility to not show their lifestyle because it makes other people uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, but it is corny as hell if you are ultra rich and you also want to be an influencer. I'm not talking about like millionaire rich, I'm talking about billions rich.
In looking at this story, one question that kept coming up in my mind was when someone has $1 billion and they're constantly highlighting their extravagant wealth online, is there any real way, again, to do rich right? Is there a way for a billionaire to be a billionaire in a way that is ethical or fair?
You're telling me that you have a driver, private chef, homes on every continent, can afford any material item under the sun, and you're out here setting up your camera to film a get to know me? How about get the f out of my face?
So then I started thinking, given the number of billionaires that exist in the world who have massive, loyal fan bases who will literally defend them to the death, even though for the most part, the billionaires likely either don't actually give a shit about the followers, the fans, and the frenzy of the public, or they look at them as a profit center where they can squeeze more money out of the lower class peasants. And if that's the case, why are we trying so hard to defend billionaires? I keep coming back to that. Why do we try so hard to defend them? Are there other things that we could focus? I don't know.
Supposed to get jacked.
Yeah, I remember
get a bombshell girlfriend, the baller yacht.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You're spreading positivity, right? Like here's a man, he's worked his whole life, and now he's able to enjoy the fruits of his labor.
He's the most important human to have ever graced the planet.
He's kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. I think he's the most impactful human that's ever graced the planet, and will be remembered far longer than any single person walking this earth.
Okay, which accomplishment leads you to believe that?
There are so many outrageous ways that Becca Bloom has showcased her wealth online, and a few do stand out as so incredibly tone deaf that they almost feel scripted at this point.
Come high jewelry shopping with me. Bulgari flew us out to Italy to look at their newly unveiled collection, Polychroma. They left us some goodies in our hotel room. Had some French toast for breakfast, did a quick walk on the treadmill before heading to the high jewelry showroom. Upon arrival, we were escorted by their team through the emerald, ruby, and sapphire rooms. Any pieces that caught my eye were brought to the private room. Next, I tried on the Kronos Legacy Centaur, which featured an 11.92 carat emerald.
You got so much money, you could buy any man. Chris Hemsworth, Liam Hemsworth, probably make you a whole new Hemsworth.
Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, there's this frequent dose of designer hauls a la Mikayla, ready to black out.
So, I blacked out.
So here's a rich bish montage for the ages.
Gotta stay hydrated for the amount of cardio I'm about to do.
I'm looking all over the world for these, and I finally found them in New York. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh my goodness. This is a limited edition necklace from their new Lucky Spring collection. Gotta warm up for the amount of cardio I'm about to do. My sales had to fight someone for this. It's a light blue cashmere cape with a little leather buckle. Next we have a Birkin. Just kidding, it's a Kelly. My dad told me to diversify my investment portfolio, so I took matters into my own hands. I was furniture shopping at Hermes, and just as I was about to leave, they offered me this long-term investment that I couldn't turn down. I lost $500,000 today due to a bad investment, so I bought myself a little pity gift. Ta-da! So this is a little bird bag in honor of my bird brain decisions. It doesn't fit much besides my dignity at the moment. We'll top that with a little bit of blue sea moss. Everything our chef's whipping up for dinner.
Is there anyone else kind of hungry right now? Videos like Becca's can become incredibly exhausting and downright confusing because at a certain point, it's human nature to compare, and you're left trying to understand how you and this person can exist within the same financial system. And I was asking myself that so many times while I was researching this, and I was thinking about, oh, it never ends and you just gotta keep working and working and working.
Come high jewelry shopping with me. Our local Bulgari closed the boutique for a private visit so my sister and I could do some last minute Christmas shopping. We looked through their extensive high jewelry collection before heading into the private room to try it on.
One of Becca's posts that seemed to be nothing but a total waste of money was when she bought a whole new computer just to fit a laptop case that she liked.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that that's a real conversation when I hear it. People don't talk like that, Meg.
Yes, let me repeat that. She bought a whole new laptop to fit a laptop case. I hate it here.
Okay, please don't judge me for this, but I fell in love with a laptop case, but they don't make it in my 15-inch size. It's only in 14-inch, so I decided to buy a new laptop today. I promise I'm not normally this extra.
This is how something got put into perspective for me, and I will always remember this. I forget where I read it, but somebody said, basically, the difference between $1 million and $1 billion is $1 billion.
The moment you've been waiting for, 100K, 1 million, 1 billion. Jeff Bezos has 122 of these, or 58 pounds of rice. If each grain of rice was 100K. Like, look how big this is, guys. I'm gonna show you the scale here. I'm gonna put a keyboard in just for fun. Look how deep that goes. That's insane. This is Jeff Bezos' new house that's $145 million in LA. And then, oh my God.
That's what we're talking about here. That really helped me understand the scope of what $1 billion actually means. Now with Becca Bloom, you could swap her name out with plenty of other people and the same broader story about class resentment would still ring true. The uber wealthies. Even though Becca is wealth flexing and we're told to hate her for all of the understandable reasons, again, to be fair, for a counterpoint perspective, she's also using her platform at times to educate her viewers about financial literacy, which I do think is very important, at least from time to time, which is, again, a good thing in my opinion.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when men gatekeep financial concepts by overcomplicating them. Is a stock buyback. That's when a company literally buys back its own shares to make them rarer and pricier. It's like a girl who takes down thirst traps on Instagram to make the remaining ones hit harder.
Yes, she absolutely started with a silver spoon as a Nepo baby, but many people gatekeep education around wealth building or financial stability, and I don't agree with that. Now, did she actually earn all of her wealth, or is it just mommy and daddy's paychecks being cashed? We'll get into that in a bit, but regardless, that kind of knowledge does have value for people.
Ultimately, we all want to maximize our chances of success, right? And the best way to do that is to take a step back, zoom out, look at the data, and ask ourselves what's most likely to work. So the next time someone justifies their logic by saying, well, it worked for me, let's pause, because one story might not mean it's a good idea.
Now, here's another perspective question that I have for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on this one. So on one hand, some people who rally against Becca Bloom feel that her content isn't authentic and that her life is becoming a production for the sake of views and engagement online. But counterpoint, could it be fair to say that showcasing her everyday luxuries actually is authentic to her? Like, if she was born into wealth and potentially only ever known the life of a billionairess, which is wild, then wouldn't this be authentic content for her?
Single most important habit that I will never give up is waking up at 5 a.m. every morning to walk on a treadmill. It's not about fitness or health related reasons. It's more so about training discipline throughout the day, and here's why.
I think that's where I often take pause when people are like, good creators are authentic ones and the best ones are always authentic. And it's like, yes, it's authentic. But thinking beyond this story, what if someone is authentically a piece of shit like Andrew Tate or Jack Doherty? Does that make them good creators because they're being authentic? Or do we need to evaluate what they're being authentic about?
Please bring me pizza and make sure that these boxes are not recycled.
Hey man, just want to let you know that sometimes you gotta shut the f*** up.
And this current time is just one of those times you gotta shut the fuck up.
Like if someone is rich beyond comprehension and potentially flexing in the most out of touch ways, that likely is authentic to them. Are we supposed to consider them authentic influencers in a way that like is like, oh, all like applause and like this is wonderful and great? Who gets to decide what is good? Is that just a moral judgment call? What if the viewer has shitty morals? Then who's deciding what's good and what's not, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comments on that one.
I'm worth over $50 million. What are you worth?
Probably more than you.
Oh. Now, recently, Becca had a beautiful wedding in Italy that was, wait for it, turned into content, of course. And there were even brands sponsoring her wedding, like a race car driver with a Wonder Bread jacket, which I guess helped put a dent in the $6.2 million wedding bill. Can you fucking imagine in this economy? Okay, I've been trying to I'm trying to look at the perspective, I'm trying to not judge, but I am judging. $6.2 million for a fucking wedding is wild to me. And I know that there are weddings that are even far more expensive than that. And I imagine there's a wedding coming up that's going to be far more expensive than that. And I just can't help but look at that amount of money and think, damn, wow, that could have helped a lot of people. And I know it's not their responsibility to do that, which is, you know, we're living in the free world here, allegedly. Now, the wedding budget even had room for Etsy, which is to manipulate the weather, of course.
We're getting married in a thunderstorm. I hired 2 witches off of Etsy to try and pray the thunderstorm away.
This video reached 26 million views, very much normalizing this type of thing, which that also makes me feel unsettled. It's the normalization of some of this. And it marked a turning point for the general sentiment towards Becca on the Clock app, because people found it a bit bratty for reasons that she turned them down, which I'm just like, is this really, that's the reason that we're like having an issue with this? But then there were people who were upset about the fact that she'd even make a video like this in the first place, which is understandable. One user commenting, quote, "The rich are flexing on us and y'all are laughing." So in what looks like an attempt to try to offer her insanely rich perspective and be more relatable, Becca Bloom recently wrote a Substack blog titled, quote, "What No One Tells You About Going Viral." Now in it, she wrote about online haters and used statistics to dismiss any sort of critique of her wealth, saying, quote, "When I had under 1 million followers, I generally received almost no hate. My community felt small and supportive. Growth felt linear and positive. Then I passed 1 million followers. That's when everything changed. There's a statistic often cited in online communities. Roughly 1% of any large audience will strongly dislike you regardless of what you do. Once I understood that, hate stopped feeling personal and started feeling structural. Engagement expands, noise expands with it. You either learn to use that energy or let it use you." I will say, like, as a creator myself, as a filmmaker, as an artist, a recording artist, as a business owner, I can understand and sort of commensurate with the fact that the more people who watch your content, the more likely you are to receive the occasional or some nasty comments. And usually, if you're generally a decent person with good content that you work hard on, you provide some type of value to people in whatever it is that you do, those comments are coming from bad faith people with a shitty moral compass who are dedicated to trying to make good, decent people who are trying their best into bad people because the commenters have nothing better to do. You also have to evaluate the perspective and the morals of the people who try to drag decent people down. Sometimes we forget about that. Just because someone leaves a comment doesn't mean they're a good person. You know what I mean? In those scenarios, it will always say more about whoever's leaving the nasty comment than they do about the good creator, particularly when they're ad hominem attacks on the creator as a person rather than the quality or message of the work they're doing. Like I've certainly experienced it. All of my amazing creator friends have. Every person in the film world that I know experiences it. And I've seen nasty bullshit in the comments of some of the most respected filmmakers and creators on the internet. That's why the block button exists. Use it, people.
First and foremost, I want everyone to know that I've always been a two-way street. and that any time that you criticize me and tell me that you would like me to do better or to do something differently, that I always try to do that.
To those who are going to comment they can't watch the show anymore because of the support, no worries and much love your way. God bless. I am not chasing fame or views. I'm standing strong in love.
We were put in fortunate situations like us. We were granted great opportunities and able to be seen on massive screens. Like, it's amazing. But I think there is sort of a dissociation. People think that they start taking you away from being a real human being. Yeah. So that have feelings and react to things. So yeah, that was definitely something that I had to navigate, even taking into my own personal music that I was writing. Like I was using it as fuel to help me, as well as just, you know, surrounding myself with people that love me. Yeah. You know, my sister will go to war about me. So I'm like.
But that's not really what we're discussing here when it comes to the complex conversation of wealth inequality and the ultra wealthy who flaunt it for clicks.
Nationwide, inflation is getting worse and shoppers are feeling it.
Again, this isn't like, you know, your favorite content creator who buys, I don't know, a designer bag for, you know, because they wanted this designer bag and they like worked really hard and they got this like, I don't know, like a $500 bag. Are there $500 designer bags? I don't even know, y'all. I'm not talking about those people who work for, I'm talking about the Becca Blooms who are every single video, it's a $250,000 necklace or a piece of jewelry or a $500,000 trunk and a bag, or it's just things that are beyond my comprehension. These commenters on Becca Bloom's posts are real, everyday people who are seeing Becca Bloom's very, in many opinions, and I get it, tone-deaf, privileged flauntings as a system of a larger societal deficit, and in many ways are rightfully calling it out.
For the first time in 3 years, Americans' wages are no longer outpacing inflation.
This morning, Americans feeling pain from the pump to the produce aisle. Inflation hitting its highest level in nearly 3 years, up 3.8% from a year ago.
Like for fruits, almost like 42 bucks, and just fruit.
Even though Becca wants to disregard this valid commentary about the rich getting richer, the super wealthy getting super wealthier, the poor getting poorer, and the absolute wasteland that billionaires are leaving behind, to refer to the people criticizing or critiquing them as just, you know, 1% anomaly of haters, it really is her who's the 1% that seems to be intentionally and blissfully unaware of reality.
Here is the actual distribution of wealth in America. The poorest Americans don't even register. They're down to pocket change. And the middle class is barely distinguishable from the poor.
Now, one of the first real large waves of backlash she faced came after she posted a video announcing a giveaway for her followers, a Van Cleef bracelet worth over $1,600 on The RealReal. But what really shook viewers about this giveaway was not really what I expected at first.
This Van Cleef Alhambra bracelet is one of the first presents that David has ever bought me. I used to wear it all the time, but lately it's been sitting in a drawer. We always thought we would save it for our future daughter one day, but honestly, you guys have become such a big part of my life. It feels like family, so I wanted to do a little giveaway.
Now, can you imagine being so wealthy that you don't think twice about giving away a $1,600 bracelet that your partner apparently gave you? Now, the comments were perplexed, and there was some backlash, but again, not for the reasons that you might think initially. It wasn't that she was, you know, rich beyond belief and just casually giving away stuff, which likely scored her public praise, but people were upset about the sentimental value of the jewelry, with one of the top comments saying, "No, keep it. The idea of giving it to your daughter is marvelous," and quote, "keep it for your daughter. I love that idea more." So maybe it's not necessarily backlash, but it's people were giving like very visceral responses. It wasn't about the wealth. It was about, no, lavish this upon your daughter. Now, the Boston Globe even reported on this backlash saying, quote, "Many of Bloom's followers were turned off by the idea of gifting a piece of jewelry with so much sentimental value and criticized her for it, while others suggested she should be offering to buy $100 worth of groceries for a few people instead, something Bloom can evidently afford." And that's kind of where my brain goes to. It's like, we're criticizing that she wants to give away something that she says has some sentimental value, when like, if she's gonna do like these giveaway things, I would rather see her give away things to people where it can help people. The criticisms here were just a little, I get it, and then also I was like, wait, that's what the story is here?
What?
Now listen, as I've gone through the research for this doc, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that Becca Bloom loves a luxury giveaway. Like if you think about it, it's an easy way to buy your followers in exchange for an Ice Cube's chance in hell at experiencing a slice of her lavish lifestyle.
Morning, Mr. Mailman. I'm richer than you.
In my opinion, these luxury giveaways are somewhat of a strategic way for ultra wealthy influencers to distract from the fact that the viewers' draw to the spectacle is in fact perpetuating their wealth.
So I stopped by the mall and picked up the new iPhone 17 for y'all. Giveaway instructions below on how to enter.
And to make it potentially worse, the influencer might not even have ever paid for the luxury item. Yeah, it's very likely that it was gifted to them. I think in this case she said her partner, or they are actually being paid to feature the item or a duplicate of an item that they already have and do a giveaway. And also let's remember, if it's coming from their wallets, it's a tax write-off. Now, first of all, I want to underscore, Becca's family has live-in servants, I believe they call them, who she's exploiting for content. Like in this video, showing what a great employer she is by allegedly buying her live-in housekeeper of 20 years, $4,000 worth of luxury gifts. And I say allegedly because the gifts are likely either paid for by sponsors or her parents for all we know, and not actually allegedly coming from her wallet anyways.
Everything I got my housekeeper for her birthday. Cash bonus along with a spa package. I also got her a little teacup set since she collects them. This one's from Tiffany. Next, I got her a little cashmere scarf from Loro Piana. Hope she likes it. If not, the gift receipt's in there. Next, I got her a new espresso machine because her old one broke. Skincare restock. Next, I got her dream bag. Dun, 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 dun. This is very her. Growing up, we did a lot of puzzles together, so I get her one every year.
Now, for a little counterpoint, is it a generous gift? Yes, of course, but that generosity doesn't exist inside of a vacuum. In reality, she, or rather her parents, could pay the housekeeper a higher wage or give her gifts in a dignified manner instead of turning it into content that Becca will benefit off of.
But look, I made you some content.
Now, another interesting post to bring into the fold with all of these giveaways is a Substack post Becca published in April of 2026, just a little bit ago, titled, quote, "Thinking you're a good person is how you become a bad one." Interesting. What the hell does that mean, Becca? Quote, "The mechanism is simple. Hold on a second. When something says the mechanism is simple, is that not ChatGPT? Does that... Listen, me and the whole, the AI things, they're just, Kevin O'Leary, what are you trying to do? Leave Utah alone. I understand that we are fully submersed in AI and we cannot escape it even if we want to, but we certainly can mitigate our use of it. I don't know. Anyways, go back to the quote.
The mechanism is simple. When you believe you're a good person, your brain stops evaluating your behavior and starts protecting your identity. Psychologists call this moral licensing. After people do something they perceive as good, they are more likely to justify worse behavior afterward."
Now listen, I get what she, or the AI, I get what this is trying to say, and again, I also disagree on several levels. Number one, if you don't believe you are a good person when you realistically are, then what are you supposed to believe? Like, that you're a bad person? That you're a terrible person? Are we supposed to perpetually punish ourselves as never good enough for the sake of fitting into this mechanism? Because I'm telling you right now, number one, I will say good people, we're generally not thinking about, oh, I'm such a good person. Oh, look at me, I'm just such a good person, right? But you also intrinsically, hopefully have some understanding that like, you know what, I'm a pretty fucking decent person and there's a lot of just garbage out there and I'm really just working to not be one of those. And also just me speaking as someone who's neurodivergent, who spirals very easily, constantly, all the time, unfortunately. I constantly beat myself up in ways that no one could ever dream of being able to do. I am the worst person to myself on this planet. I am so mean to myself and harsh on myself, constantly think I'm a failure, constantly think I'm never doing anything, never like have any type of success, never achieving. I'm just the worst to myself and it's something I have to work on every single day. And if something's telling me that like I'm not allowed to think ever that I'm a good person, because if I do, that makes me a bad person, that will send me into the worst effing spiral that I probably was already gonna go down anyways. So just be careful when you hear stuff like this. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to also not agree with it. But also, Secondly, if someone truly is a decent, good person, there is a stronger likelihood that you'd recognize when you behave in a way that doesn't align with your good moral compass, and you'll respond naturally by improving the next time. We all make mistakes. We all do things that are not the greatest things ever, right? That's part of the human experience. And I think these broad generalizations take away from that. I do not think being a good person is as black and white as this makes it sound. The only thing black and white here is me. Now, I want to take a moment and zoom out and look at the broader context of society as a whole, as we always do with the Swoop Doc. How do these conversations actually affect us in our daily lives? What is worthy of analysis? What is serious? What is just unserious stuff on the internet? Because there's also a lot of unserious stuff, and that's okay too. We need unserious stuff.
My spoon is too big.
In addition to the serious stuff, our brains need a break, okay?
I am a banana!
Now, going to the serious, with the Iran war drawing even more public attention to America's already existing affordability crisis, and I know other countries are facing their own type of crisis, there are some truly heartbreaking examples of just how extreme the wealth gap has become and where much of the backlash towards people like Becca is really coming from.
The Strait of Hormuz remains closed, and gas prices here in the U.S. marking a new high tonight, now at their highest point in 4 years. And of course, it's not just gas, it's diesel used to deliver goods and groceries, and the prices you're now paying.
For example, CNN recently reported that Americans are cutting back on meals in order to just afford gas for their cars to get to work and other things they have to do. Specifically, a 31-year-old woman who is, quote, trying to offset the increase by skipping lunch at her job as an environmental scientist, saving her about $30 a week in homemade sandwiches and salads, but leaving her feeling tired and hungry. She's already cutting back on fresh vegetables and meats and shopping more at discount grocers to try to salvage her ability to save money and pay down medical debt. And that type of thing, that shit breaks my heart and makes me so angry in so many ways. I'm not gonna go on a big rant right now, but I'm sorry. We are seeing our leaders, we are seeing people in this administration, we are seeing people who are tangentially tied to things like the war, who are just making more millions. There are people literally lining their pockets every single fucking day with things that are crushing the best of us. And by the best of us, I mean people like that, the scientists, the people who are just trying to work their jobs, the people who are caregivers at home, who are worried about taking care of themselves and the person that they're caring for, the people who are the moms, the dads, the parents out there who have children who are just trying to put food on their children's tables, the people who are just literally in school right now trying to be able to afford school because you keep telling us that we gotta be able to do that in order to get a good paying job, but are the jobs gonna be there anymore? I'm sorry, but I'm so sick and tired of the ultra wealthy, the billionaires out here just making more billions. We actually have leadership, a president who made more billions in the last year or two, meanwhile just watching the country suffer. I will never agree to that no matter what the political party is. I'm sorry, but I will never agree that something like that is okay. And I can't stand this.
I mean, saying that's life might not, make them feel better when they're filling up
those
their
are your
car.
words. Those are your words, not mine. I'm saying.
No, you said that's life just now.
This is the situation. This is the situation.
Similarly, we've got one man in Florida who is, like I mentioned earlier, a caregiver for his elderly mother who is facing hunger just to afford the costly combination of medicine and transportation.
I struggle every day, and now I'm taking care of my mom who's older, being denied simple things like breathing meds. So gas, what are you gonna do? So I don't eat this week, because I have to take mom to the doctor's tomorrow.
Being a caregiver breaks you in so many ways that I've yet to be able to find words to put to it. It is exhausting, it is terrifying, it is stress beyond belief. I'm constantly thinking about if I have a little bit of money, put it away because I might have to take care of somebody, and I am actively supporting people, but what if something more happens? I still haven't been able to put to words that experience, and thinking that there are people out there who can't even afford a meal. That is the type of stress that so many people are living with every single day of our lives. And it's just to act like this isn't a factor in this country and other countries is so obtuse. It's so out of touch. I think it's disgusting. I don't need to see the flaunting. I don't need to see it. personally for me. And it's not just that these heartbreaking individual stories like this man taking care of his mother, these prices, the gas prices, the inflation, everything are affecting social safety net services, things like Meals on Wheels that a lot of vulnerable communities depend on in order to survive. They're getting left behind as well, which is terrifying. Probably a lot of senior centers. If you look up the senior centers in your area, they might be struggling. If you can help, please do. The reality is that the federal minimum wage has remained at $7.25 since 2009. And a large majority of people turn to these free social media apps for entertainment to distract them from the harsh reality of the cost of living. So logging on and seeing someone like Becca Bloom's lavish lifestyle can feel extremely personal to them. So yes, it's absolutely fair to vocalize a very real pain that so many people are experiencing, and it's not just the 1% haters out there. It's arguably necessary that we speak out this in many ways. If the people affected by careless government policies or the lack thereof don't voice our experiences and educate others on what is actually happening in our communities, who the hell will?
Is the housing crisis is more than just one of lack of physical space. It's a crisis of confidence that the American system itself is working.
They're living paycheck to paycheck, unable to save for a vacation, retirement, or their children's education because the cost of living has outpaced what most people earn.
The rent crisis is a crisis that's really decades in the making. There have been decades of deregulation and privatization. The federal government has all but abdicated its responsibility to us in relationship to our homes.
Look at the price at the gas pump and you're like, wow, is that real? I guess it is. So you try to avoid it a little bit. You don't fill it up all the way.
I'm walking a lot more. That's what I'm doing.
I roll get gas every day because I'm scared it'll go up more the next day.
As far as I'm concerned, the whole economy is not working for the middle class person like I am.
I'm on a fixed income and it just doesn't stretch anymore.
I put my husband's credit card into a wand. Let's go shopping. First stop is Chanel. I wonder if they accept magic. Cute. You guys accept magic? Guess you do. Thank you.
So we know a few things about Becca Bloom so far. She's rich, she has rich parents, and she's the queen of RichTok. But a few things remain shrouded in mystery. Does she actually work? How much of her life online reflects her real life? And how exactly did her parents earn their mega wealth that she was essentially born into and benefits from today? Well, friends, I'm so glad you asked. Rebecca Ma's parents are Heidi Chow and Yiming Ma, the founders of the Chinese tech company Camelot Information Systems, quote, a leading domestic provider of enterprise application services and financial industry information technology services in China. Now, I could not untangle what that corporate speak means in plain English if you paid me to, but what they do isn't really that important part. It's how they did it.
Some of Becca Bloom's wealth was generated through fraud. What I'm going to talk about today is how Becca Bloom's parents' family, Camelot Information Systems, defrauded investors in 2010 when they raised money via IPO on the New York Stock Exchange by deceiving and lying about the success and the growth of their company.
Now, some people online are claiming that they've uncovered evidence that Camelot Information Systems allegedly pulled a fast one on investors and the entire stock market to essentially pull money out of thin air based on false company reporting. But here's what we know. Becca Bloom's parents founded their company in 2001 and 10 years later went public on the New York Stock Exchange with the total stock valuing the company at around 150 million USD. Now, shortly after going public with a huge valuation, however, an investment firm called Spruce Point Management published a report titled The Fantasy World of Camelot Information Systems. Now, this report was basically an episode of the cesspool on paper for her business, people. It pointed out some important red flags that ultimately led the company to be sued and sold into the private sector again, brought by, one of Ma's other companies just 2 years later for almost half the price, allegedly. Now, according to the report by Spruce Point Management, the company was basically reporting numbers across the board that didn't line up with any industry competitors in the same tax brackets. Interesting. Quote, number 1, unusually high revenue per employee, matched only by the alleged fraud Long Tip Financial. Number 2, abnormally low SG and A margins, but exceptionally high total wage cost per employee, yet evidence suggests high employee dissatisfaction. Number 3, lack of industry recognition from competitors, independent research firms, and industry trade organizations. Number 4, pursuing an aggressive acquisition strategy and paying big premiums for businesses of questionable quality with limited disclosure. Number 5, cash management strategy appearing at odds with financial objectives. Number 6, significant and material accounting weaknesses. Basically, they read them for filth, honey. They were just trying to be something they weren't.
Yes, I'm with him. I'm Mrs. Iglesias.
No, you're not.
And on top, allegedly, and on top of all those Wall Street speculations, the company's CFO had recently worked at another company that was found to allegedly be committing fraud. Basically, the company entered the stock market with inflated numbers, made a ton of money, and left a loss, allegedly.
They never faced any sort of prosecution from the SEC or any sort of legal ramifications. They had a civil suit and they paid out through the civil suit an undisclosed amount of money. But they essentially did some form at the time of a pump and dump scheme using their company. The company's still around today. I guess it's successful or it's doing well, but they generated a large amount of money at the time by defrauding their investors.
All of this has nothing to do with Miss Becca Bloom. It's her parents. It's not her dealings, but it's interesting to know that it could all mirror a potentially inflated showcase of wealth for Becca herself more than 10 years later. Nevertheless, she still posts about her parents flying around on their private jet all the time. So Becca's curious decision to bring her immense wealth to the internet and show it off in front of the entire world for engagement may be suspicious, but it's not necessarily surprising,
I think Becca has created a self-fulfilling cycle for herself. Her flaunting her consumption in front of her audience has allowed her to sign brand deals with companies like Valentino, which I'm sure not only pay nicely, but allow her to continue flaunting her wealth. So Becca consumes, her fans eat it up, brands sign on because they love the engagement, and the cycle goes on.
But as her profile grew, people began speculating about how much of her wealth might be exaggerated or at the very least performative. Now, I wasn't originally planning to include these kind of unconfirmed claims. They are nearly impossible for us to verify, but as we unpack her relationship to the wealth she was born into, I think it's worth at least acknowledging the allegations surrounding her image. For example, what am I talking about? Some of the people online have claimed that parts of her lavish hauls allegedly include knockoff items.
I did the video in my pinned videos of her with all her fake stuff and the grifting and the scamming and all that in my expert opinion, girl. Deception. Deception. Disgrace. The holes. The holes.
Now, are these incendiary, gossipy videos mostly just people talking about a hole in a bag? Yes, they are. No shade to them. And again, because they point to a larger truth that online, we often have no real way of knowing what's authentic and what's being manufactured for the camera. And if there is any truth to the Birkin bag allegations, then it raises a bigger question. What else might be fabricated? For instance, another video clearly shows that one of the quote unquote rooms in her house is actually allegedly a community common room in an apartment building in San Francisco, aka an amenity space that all residents and their guests would have access to and not their private home.
Common spaces that y'all think is her house, that is not her damn house. And y'all can film in there. As you guys see, this is a get ready with me. Pay attention to the walls, pay attention to the floors. Once I click the link that her neighbor sent me, look at the damn walls, look at the damn floors, look at that damn common space that anybody can film in.
But most of all, I feel comfortable confidently surmising that her home, where she films a majority of her biggest wealth flexes, is certainly, most likely, definitely, her parents' humble mansion in Atherton. Maybe even, you know, the same one that she grew up in while being waited on hand and foot by the housekeeper. Now, one of her pinned Instagram posts from February 2022 celebrating her birthday is a picture taken at that same staircase, and the location tag says Atherton, California. And in several of her videos, she mentions her mom living in the same space as her. So it's almost as if she's using her childhood home as a backdrop to the adult life she's producing to the internet's eyes. Again, listen, there are much more important things in the world to worry about. I am not exactly worried about Becca Bloom herself there. I only have so much capacity to worry, and she's not filling that spot. But I do have concerns beyond her about the way people see the ultra wealthy through minute-long videos and walk away believing everything about it is effortlessly perfect, is effortlessly ethical, while feeling like their own lives are in shambles just trying to pay for a tank of gas, when in reality, many of these perfect TikTok videos appear to take place. Again, what exactly does Becca do besides unbox Birkins? Well, we know that she sold her peer-to-peer Chinese tutoring company, StudyPal, that she started in high school.
And then so we ended up selling for around 190K, so rounded up to 200K, but it was definitely an experience.
Now, let's be real. If accurate, that is a huge accomplishment. Successfully selling a business is no small feat. And she had enough money to pay her entire college tuition off a company she built from the ground up, even though I'm sure she didn't pay her own tuition. And being born with a silver spoon and people paid to wait on you certainly makes creating a company and funding it and selling it really fucking easy. Or at least a lot easier. Now, a few years into college, she sold another one of her startups, a wireless charging company called Earth Wireless Chargers.
That was kind of a source of passive income for us. I don't really work on that anymore, but still get a little bit of money from that every month. So that's good.
Now, her hustle is definitely inspiring. I'm never gonna take that away from her or any women entrepreneurs if the stories are accurate and she built this herself. But again, it is important to remember that she had a huge launching pad with her parents' wealth to invest in these startups. But when you're entered into a race and you get to start halfway to the finish line while everyone else has to start at the starting line, then it kind of makes sense that people feel some type of way, especially when your whole online presence is about flaunting the wealth, regardless of who earned it and how. Let's remember, again, if her wealth is mainly from her parents and her parents earned their wealth through those unethical means like fucking fraud, as was reported earlier, allegedly, then she's building a lavish TikTok career off of showcasing a lifestyle enabled by unethical business practices, allegedly. So what the hell exactly should we be respecting here? If that's the case. Big ifs.
What might the future hold for your entrepreneurial endeavors?
Right, for sure. I definitely do want to be an entrepreneur at the end of the day. But currently I'm looking to go a little bit more into consulting. Again, following your footsteps, basically, Lori. And understand businesses, how big businesses work, and maybe work in a corporate environment before I kind of go back into the startup realm.
Here's some finance terms that you hear everywhere, but no one actually explains. Number one is underwriting, and that's the process a lender or insurer uses to assess risk before giving money. Underwriting is like stalking his LinkedIn, his Instagram, even Zillow before agreeing to go on a date with him, because you're sussing him out. Number two is amortization, and that's spreading payments over time. It's like buying a Chanel bag using Afterpay. You're still paying for it, but you're paying for it over time in smaller increments.
It seems to me like her social media persona and allure has become her latest startup endeavor, crafting the public perception with business like precision. But she does still also seem to work in the corporate field. She keeps her exact job title pretty close to her chest. However, last summer before her LinkedIn was disappeared, the San Francisco Gazetteer reported, quote, according to LinkedIn, she works at Bloomberg as an account manager. Bloomberg. Bloom. Maybe a little billionaire inspo for Becca Bloom. Could that be where the screen name came from? Who's to say? Who's to say?
In a little under 3 months since announcing his candidacy, Bloomberg has already spent $400
$319 million all on ads.
Now, even though her job is a secret, which is, does the job exist? Is the job in the room with us? I don't know. So even though it's a secret, in her Hannah Montana double life fantasy, she definitely makes it well known on her account that she works hard, with a whole featured playlist on her profile titled Work, to immediately attempt to quell the Nepo accusations. You know, gotta market that product.
Day in my life, I wake up at 5:30 and walk to work every morning. Here's my outfit of the day. Nvidia dropped 18% today because of DeepSeek. After back-to-back meetings, I got my favorite snack and then proceeded to walk to Van Cleef. Tried on the snowflake bracelet again. Was still debating between the sizes of the pendants. Then I got home and me and my fiance went out to dinner. We had this lovely evening. I then had a few girls over for Galentine.
Now, I will say, wealth flex aside, I think a lot of times women have a larger target on our backs for being successful within the patriarchal system. I mean, that's what the system was designed to do, right? I mean, literally, let's not forget that women couldn't open lines of credit at a bank without a man's signature until 1974, which was just 50 years ago. Okay, that was really not that long ago. In one of Becca's Substack posts about International Women's Day, she wrote, quote, "The most interesting thing about International Women's Day isn't the flowers or the statistics. It's the strange fact that women's progress has always depended on two forces that seem contradictory: people who take women seriously and people who underestimate them. History is full of both." And as much as I'm, not the target demographic of the look how much I spent on this designer type thing, I do agree with that sentiment. Even in the year of our Lord 2026, women have had to face immense obstacles when it comes to literally anything. And in business, we have to fight both for people to take us seriously while navigating a society that is trained to invalidate and degrade us the moment we do make something of ourselves. And man, if I faced that shit, oh my gosh, and don't you dare be a black woman and build some success, oh my gosh. Don't you dare build a production company or build your own apparel line, oh my gosh, how dare she? And speaking of the archaic ways that women are still unfairly judged as compared to men, what about Becca's husband?
Just so you know, I bought the Van Cleef bracelet.
Wait, the ladybug or the leaf? Are you kidding me?
I've always wanted it, so I just thought I would buy it for myself.
If you always wanted it, why didn't you say you wanted it when I offered to buy it for you?
I was thinking it matches my necklace perfectly.
That's why I said I wanted to buy it for you! Huh?
Becca's romantic relationship and marriage have been a huge cornerstone of her online success, and she shared a lot of thoughts on the ways that she believes gender equality plays out in the financial realm and in general. And just like with her wealth flexing, people have found issues with some of the things that she had to say.
Some people hate me for saying this, but one of the smartest things you can do in a relationship is to let your man contribute. Not because you can't do it yourself, but because according to behavioral psychology, effort creates attachment. When someone does something for you, even as small as opening a water bottle, the brain rationalizes that effort by increasing emotional value, and that creates attachment.
Now, she's not strayed away from opting her man into her online world, and he doesn't disappoint. But I mean, how could he when everything is optimized for the For You page?
If a girl
Why am I talking to a girl?
No, if a girl...
Why am I talking to a girl?
Let me finish.
If you close your eyelids, do you see nothing or do you see black?
No, I see your face.
Now, the fans did what they do best and made jokes asking if he has a single brother and claiming to be her long-lost daughter, but others were absolutely disgusted by how people can admire this kind of lifestyle.
And those giant boxes of roses her fiance gets her? The luxury rose industry is killing landscapes in Ecuador. You're killing the earth.
Now, all of her seemingly out-of-touch wealth flaunting and rage bait didn't receive nearly as much backlash as a video she posted in November 2025 that had people searching for any last drop of humanity within her and this content, and coming up a little short.
Here's the irony. Men only remember the word equality when it benefits them financially. Not when it comes to wages, not when it comes to safety, not when it comes to emotional workload, not when it comes to the cost of beauty, not when it comes to the social scrutiny women face on a daily basis, but suddenly you want equality when the bill hits the table.
Now, in this off-the-cuff rant about equality that reached over 1 million likes, Becca bloomed into another level of virality when her hot take turned into a parasocial argument with women in her fan base. This got 1 million likes. A lot of people loved it. Equally, a lot of people hated it. Probably more people hated it, but a lot of people liked it. Can't overlook that.
Here's what men don't understand about equality. You think equality means splitting the bill. Women live in a society where equality has never existed in the first place. Women still...
That is a good point. I don't love that these conversations leave out non-binary and trans, all of that, but for the context of what she's talking about this men-women thing. And that is very true. Equality simply has not existed.
Only make 80% of what a man makes for the same full-time job. So when you ask for a 50-50 date, know that her 50% costs more of her income than it does yours. Second of all, women pay more just to exist in the dating world.
And here's where I have to agree and also disagree. It's like she's saying things that, yes, they make sense, but at the same time, this is not how the real world operates. She is coming from the place of super wealth. You can't even survive on a 2-household income at this point. For a lot of people, I come from a place where if I'm in a relationship, I got a guy around, I'm in a relationship, if I'm making more, regardless of did I have to work 10 times harder to get that, level of pay, probably, but if I'm pulling in more, I'm just going to naturally probably pay for more and expect for the relationship to balance out in other ways. I think a lot of people operate that way. I think that's called survival for a lot of people too, right?
Her 50% costs more of her income than it does yours. Second of all, women pay more just to exist in the dating world, about $400 a month just on grooming and beauty.
I don't know who the hell is spending $400 a month on grooming and beauty. Maybe she is, maybe listen, I know that there are people out there who are spending that and no shade, self-care and all of that, good. But I don't think that's realistic. I do not think that's a realistic standard for the vast majority of people. You're, again, talking from a place of ultra wealthy privilege. Now, yes, are there societal pressures for women to look beautiful or look put together or have their hair done or their nails or whatever? Yes, those are pressures that do exist, but that doesn't mean that every woman adheres to them either. And I think that's another thing why I don't like these conversations just ignoring the realities of that women are not a monolith. I know so many women who don't give one shit about that type of stuff, just don't. I put on makeup because I'm sitting here on camera. I just started getting some paint on my nails this year. I wasn't doing that forever. I've never had any work done. I'm not spending huge money in beauty products. That's just not something that I'm doing. There's no shade to doing it. There's no shade to not doing it. And I think there's a lot of relationships that don't have that type of pressure. I know a lot of women who are fuck, I'm not wearing makeup. I'm going out, I'm gonna have a good time, and I'm gonna have a relationship. These things also exist. That's why I don't love absolutes.
That's not because they want to spend more, it's because they're held to the beauty standards that men built and judged them by.
But that is obviously a very real thing. There are these impossible beauty standards that women are held to. I will say that women can also sometimes perpetuate those. But yes, there are standards that are placed, unrealistic standards that are placed on women that men do not often receive.
Only that, women carry safety risks too. They are 2 to 3 times more likely to experience violence from a date. Men love to talk about equality, but not the part where you have to send your locations to your friends and carry safety weapons in your purse just to go to dinner with you.
That part. I got an app, my friends know where I'm going. I have my weapons, I have my pepper spray, I have all of these things. And it's you gotta say a prayer when you're headed out. That is a reality. That is absolutely a reality.
Here's the irony. Men only remember the word equality when it benefits them financially. Not when it comes to wages, not when it comes to safety, not when it comes to emotional workload, not when it comes to the cost of beauty, not when it comes to the social scrutiny women face on a daily basis. But suddenly you want equality when the bill hits the table. Equality isn't identical treatment.
I think she's saying a lot of things that make a lot of sense. Absolutely. I agree with a lot of this. I think there should be broader context to it, and I think that it's not accommodating for every spectrum of society and couples and the dynamics. But I also think that she has never experienced what it's like to have to split the bill because otherwise you're not eating, right? That couples, they go out and they both are putting their finances into it because they have to, because that's the only way you can survive, to pay the bills, to have a dinner, once every 6 months together. That's the reality for most people. And I think that this is missing that part of the conversation and the dynamic, and it's making it sound like it's all the men's responsibility, period, no matter what. And it's completely ignoring all of these other elements of the way that life really is for most people that she has not experienced.
equality is balanced responsibility. And until society becomes statistically equal, you cannot cherry pick equality only in moments where it allows you to contribute less. So yes, my husband pays all the bills, and yes, I think that's the bare minimum.
She's the billionaire in the billionaire family, but her husband pays all the bills. That's not how I would be. But what do you think about that? Now, there was one comment in particular under Becca's equality rant that stood out to me for a few reasons. Quote, right message, wrong messenger. On one hand, I could agree that this is the wrong messenger because she made the conversation all about money in relationships without acknowledging her own advantages and privileges whatsoever. Like, I come from the place that if I'm in a relationship and I'm earning more, then I'm going to naturally want to take care of more of the expenses because I can, and I would seek balances in the relationship in other ways. Now, let's also pause for a second for a counterpoint. I often hate the phrase right message, wrong messenger because it can at times, not always, but it can at times become a convenient way to dismiss a valid point without actually engaging with it. Yes, Becca Bloom is living a life of extravagant wealth in ways that 99.99999% of people on this planet will never know, regardless of where the money is coming from or if it's ethical. But she's still a woman and has perspective as a woman, and that's still valid in the wealth gap conversation. Women deal with this dismissiveness over our opinions and experiences every single day, and Becca Bloom is not exempt from enduring misogyny just because she's benefited from nepotism. And even if a woman holds power in a way that feels unearned, that doesn't automatically erase her ability to call out the undeniable damage caused by the patriarchy that happens every day. Yes, I think Becca made some points here, and yes, I think there are several problematic issues here that absolutely do not account for all of the realities of the way the 99% have to live in order to survive. And the two conflicting points can happen at the same time and still be a valid conversation. Becca Bloom has made some important videos on this and relating topics that I don't think deserve to be erased simply because of her financial circumstances to say, well, right message, wrong messenger. If it's the right message, then it's the right message. Yes, her points are important and accurate, and yes, without her acknowledging where she sits in the equation from a high perch above literally 99% of all civilization, her point becomes lost and ignores very important intersectionality that should be included in such complex conversations.
The reason why Becca Bloom's take about equality fell short is not because what she said was wrong. It's the aspect of her criticizing a system that she fails to acknowledge where she sits in. Especially when she stated that you can't cherry pick equality whilst you use it in a moment that allows you to contribute less. Her direct critique of patriarchy was valid. Unfortunately, the way that she centered this conversation was more about where she sits within capitalism, actually bringing nuance, intersectionality, and actually addressing the subject with complexities.
Now, one user, Bridge on Film, took it a step further and made a video leaving their comment saying, quote, "Can we keep this energy for equality by asking your billionaire family to distribute their wealth?" Yes, someone was going to ask it, and oh, Becca did not like that call out energy, and she ended up commenting on that video and getting really defensive. Okay, let's have a look at a billionaire getting defensive.
Becca Bloom commented on my TikTok, which is great. I want discourse because she posted a video talking about equality, and I just think the elephant in the room is that you're a billionaire. So what do you know about equality?
If you knew even a fraction about me or my family, that question wouldn't have made it out of your drafts. And for clarity, TikTok auto filters users with a history of hostility or cyberbullying. Your comment hid itself. Here's the reply.
All I commented saying was that, hey, can we have the same energy for equality and talk about redistributing your billionaire family's wealth? And apparently that's a cyberbullying comment. The irony of this was that her comment on my video was also in my folded comments. So putting the ChatGPT response to the side, genuinely, I want to have a conversation. I want to know. Prove me wrong. I don't want to be right. I don't want to think that billionaires are horrible people that just exploit everyone around them because that's the only way that they can be billionaires. But I'm not seeing any other alternative. Tell me about your family. Tell me about how you managed to make this massive wealthy empire.
We are all wanting to know about that part. We do want to know the ethics behind the family stuff, given the things that we have learned.
And if you don't want to, that's okay. It's none of my business. But don't be coming onto small creators' comment sections and accusing them of bullying when they're just trying to discuss the massive wealth inequality that we have in the world, which you are a symbol of. Having that much wealth is just unethical. There is no way to ethically be a billionaire.
She is a symbol of it, and it's not just because she was born into this family. That's not her fault. She can't choose where she was born, but she is a symbol of it because she is actively choosing to showcase all of it in her content constantly. Here's $250,000 necklace, $5,000 bracelet. Oop, I lost my $100,000 Rolex. I just got a second one just to, you know, like, that is the nature of your content. You are the symbol of the wealth inequality. Okay.
Exploiting people. We are seeing how much people are struggling in today's society and economy, and you continue to just post on TikTok showing off your wealth, and to be deleting people's comments and accusing small creators of cyberbullying you because people are pointing that out is insanely immature to me.
And there's that. Thoughtful. I think that's a thoughtful response. I think that makes perfect sense as to where she's coming from and where a lot of people are coming from. I have to say, for someone with over 5 million followers, I'm kind of surprised that Becca even responded to a video at all. It must have, I guess, really struck a chord with some sort of, I don't know, pre-existing guilt for her to go so far as to leave a clapback comment that made being a billionaire seem like some sort of plight that she's being cyberbullied over.
Just know your role and execute.
Well, my worry is that Kendall may come across as too cool and likable.
And it wasn't the only reply like that in the comments section. People Magazine shared another angry reply from Becca, where she said, quote, "When someone can't challenge the point, they challenge the existence of the person who made it. Thanks for the case study." Damn! Now, not to go full Inception on the concept of equality.
Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange.
But her comparison there simply isn't equal. Someone calling her out for flaunting billionaire wealth is, number one, is calling out the content that she was making, flaunting billionaire wealth. But saying that has nothing to do with the commenter arguing about her point about gender equality. She's drawing a false equivalency here. And in the same breath, Becca clapped back yet again on Substack, where she attempted to shed light on how this huge wave of backlash from the internet was, in her opinion, yet another symptom of the misogyny of online culture. The blog post was titled, quote, "Women in the public eye can't do anything right." Now, she called out the entire wave of backlash that used her wealth against her in a way that sums it up like this, quote, "That is textbook straw man fallacy. When someone attacks the speaker instead of the argument, it usually means the argument is harder to dismantle. Whether I am wealthy or broke does not change the underlying question about dating norms, leverage, or structural asymmetry. If the logic were flawed, it could be debated directly. Instead, the debate shifted to my background, my privilege, my character." There is the baseline of a valid argument here that her comments about dating norms and leverage regarding men and women had some value. But, and this is a big ass but, whether you are wealthy or broke actually does play a part in the conversation, as that lens is how you're currently viewing the world. If you've never been broke a day in your life, it's virtually impossible for you to actually understand the absolute terror, fear, hopelessness, anxiety, and more that literally not being able to pay your bills or eat can cause on someone. It is being poor, not being able to eat literally causes death. People die from this type of stuff. So it is very, very serious. And if you've never been able to have that perspective, to not then acknowledge that you haven't lived and had that perspective and try to see that perspective and present it, that would be the responsible way here for a billionaire to talk about wealth inequality. But that didn't happen. It was very much the man must, not understanding that, like, it is a luxury, number one, to be in a relationship, and number two, to be in a relationship where you are so financially set before you were even born. It is a luxury to then say, well, the man must pay for everything. Both people have to work and both people are paying bills, because that's the only way you survive, honey. That's the only way you survive.
Yeah, most are concerned. Stress is another descriptor people use about their finances. Feelings of being secure financially are actually down from a year ago. And part of that, as you mentioned, is all tied to inflation, the view, and I've said this often because we've seen this repeatedly, hasn't abated over the years, that their income isn't keeping up with inflation
And yeah, gas prices are a big part of that.
By insisting that men pay for everything all the time, regardless of your income status as a partner, is simply not fucking possible in most real world relationships, where not even 2 income households are enough to fucking survive this insane economy and administration for millions of people. What the fuck is supposed to happen if the man loses his job? Or if he earns less, is a stay-at-home dad, is disabled. Who is bringing in what money to the partnership actually does matter a lot. That's why it's called a partnership. And that's not a character attack to point that out. It's understanding the nuance that was conveniently left out of Becca's commentary. Let's keep reading. Quote, "They went after me because they could not go after the reasoning." Honey, we can go after the reasoning. This is not a personal, we're talking about the reasoning here. Back to the quote. "A man posts a photo of his watch. He is aspirational. A woman posts a photo of her watch. She is materialistic. A man discusses income. He is driven. A woman discusses income. She is arrogant. A man demands standards. He has boundaries. A woman demands standards. She is entitled." Researchers call part of this the backlash effect. Studies from Columbia Business School show that when identical resumes are assigned male and female names, competence ratings stay similar, but the female candidate is likely significantly less. Listen, ad hominem attacks are a very real issue, especially against women in the public eye who have points worth hearing. Again, I've faced it particularly when I discuss topics like racism, politics, not worshiping someone's favorite celebrity, or literally just having an opinion as a woman and as a black woman. This is the thing that happens. It happens to all of my friends. It happens to everyone who's in the public eye to any degree. I'm not saying I'm a big public eye person. I'm a little corner of the internet, and it happens to everybody.
Several men, and it has been men, have been saying that I am overthinking my posts, and I would like to address that. First of all, that's, kids, something I like to call an ad hominem attack. An ad hominem attack is something that you do when you have a weak argument, so you go after the person rather than their idea.
That's why we value critical thinking and perspective here, and not just blatant echo chambers who we have no problem hitting the block button on. If we want to make real, meaningful progress, we have to be able to listen, learn, and engage with different perspectives while still understanding that the framing around the person delivering the message often matters as well. And I'm talking about good faith arguments. I'm not talking about bad faith. People come at people in the public eye with bad faith all the time. You see a bad faith person, just throw it in the trash. Throw it in the trash. You got bad faith, you're gone. People just shouldn't listen to that kind of nonsense. But good faith stuff. Let me give an example about why I believe context of the narrator is important. In my Epstein documentary, I felt that it was important, just really quick at the beginning, to let all of you who watching it know that I am a survivor, and that sometimes I also cope with triggering topics that I am researching with dark humor as my form of creating a safe space for myself to even get through it. And I think the context around me as the documentarian helps form an understanding of the lens that I am looking at these stories through, and any biases I might have, even though I try very hard to see multiple perspectives when people may not. I think that giving that context gives you, the viewer, all the more clarity as to what may have shaped my personal opinions that I'll share. And that's where I think Becca is missing the point. Again, discussing her billionaire status is not an ad hominem attack. At least in my opinion. It is important to understand the context around the message while not ignoring that her hyper-privileged lifestyle does color how she views and presents these topics. If she's presenting them as, this is the way it is, and men needs to pay for everything, and this is the way it is, if you've never had the experience of being broke, you can't claim that as fact that that's the way it is, because it's not. It's just not. Now, speaking of equality, Becca posted an odd video with her husband that really doubled down on this idea of gendered rules that play out in her life and relationship. And I honestly have trouble deciphering if this is supposed to be rage bait or not.
Things in our marriage that just make sense. I'll go first. We never talk negatively about each other in front of other people. If I have something to say, I'll say it to his face.
Okay, me next. Once a week, I'll sit Becca down and compliment her for an hour straight.
I do enjoy our compliment hour. I'm very lucky to have my own finances, but in our relationship, David pays for everything.
But isn't that the bare minimum? Because your time is really valuable.
In the past, when he's wasted my time, I'll send him an invoice.
Who does that?
I do.
Speaking of finances, I pay all the bills and do our long-term investments while Becca's focused on the short-term.
Whatever works for them, I guess. But I just think it's ironic that she's a child of billionaires, apparently works her own job allegedly, and is now making her husband pay for everything and sending him invoices for her time. But it's clearly no problem for him, maybe because he married into a billionaire family, I don't know. Now, according to the South China Morning Post, her husband, David Pownell, quote, previously worked as a software engineer at Google per town and country. These days, he's a software developer at Amazon. And let me tell you, a software developer is not making billions of dollars. So yeah, safe to say David is very familiar with billionaires because he married into this. I don't know how much of his own money he's making.
Oh! Oh, beautiful!
And it does seem like Becca Bloom takes pride in treating everything in her life as a business, even relationships.
Let's turn dating into a high-yield investment strategy. Rule number 1, don't invest more than you're willing to lose in the discovery phase. In early dating, we're in the due diligence phase. Don't pour in time, money, vulnerability before assessing ROI. In this case, it could be emotional safety, consistency, or values alignment. You want to treat your energy like capital and don't invest until there's a proven growth trajectory. Rule number 2, diversify our portfolio.
This money-focused mindset is most likely a trained behavior instilled by her billionaire parents, and this unreasonable expectation to normalize or justify someone having $1 billion, to which I'm sorry, I know a lot of people love a certain few billionaires that shall remain nameless, but I just can't get down with the existence of said billionaire. The humans, they should exist. The billionaire thing, I don't think it should be a thing. Take a cue from Dolly Parton. But yes, I can get down with the concept of valuing your own time and energy, of course.
This is what $100 million looks like. 100 million $1 bills. Look at this. Okay, but watch this. This is what $100 billion looks like. Whoa, that's $100 billion. There's like 19 people on Earth that have this much money.
But alas, I think it's time for a little Petty University sidebar on a billionaire who honestly does deserve all of the backlash, Ms. Lauren Sanchez Bezos, because it's honestly pissing me off.
Oh, look at that.
I know, that dress
is
so beautiful.
So pretty. You say you're different than you were 5 years ago and that Jeff changed you. How so?
That's an interesting question. He's changed me in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Recently, the New York Times published a profile on Lauren Sanchez Bezos, the latest billionaire via marriage to Amazon founder and space villain Jeff Bezos.
Hell yes. That's how wealthy people laugh. I wouldn't have guessed.
Now, the profile was titled, quote, "Someone has to be happy. Why not Lauren Sanchez Bezos?"
What?
Like, right off the bat, like, you're fucking kidding me, right? Jeff Bezos is worth an estimated $271 billion. Brain can't even conceptualize. She married $271 billion.
You've got to be kidding.
Children are starving on every corner of the planet, and Amazon workers are literally dying in the factories and being told to look the other way. She can be miserable, and I don't care. It was just this ridiculous puff piece glorifying the ultra-wealthy billionaire lifestyle and normalizing the unethical lifestyle they lead by hoarding all the wealth, and I promise this will all tie back to Miss Becca Bloom. Just wait for it. There's this famous quote that originated from Natalie Robin Justice on Twitter that basically sums it up for me. Quote, "If a monkey hoarded more bananas than it could eat, while most of the other monkeys starved, scientists would try to figure out what's wrong. When humans do it, we put them on the cover of Forbes." And that is the greatest quote that I have read in a long time. Jeff Bezos, the 4th richest man in the world with a net worth of over $271 billion, was put on the cover of Forbes with the headline, quote, "America's best leaders."
Have you guys heard this one? Oh!
Which, in my opinion, is a total bullshit label to give someone who has decided to build phallic rocket ships instead of paying the employees he exploits a fucking livable wage and, oh, I don't know, a fucking fair amount of taxes for starters. When Bezos recently married Laura Sanchez, a former local Fox News anchor and extra correspondent, she didn't enter the 100 billionaire lifestyle. She seemed to help rebrand it. As the New York Times put it, quote, as half of an unfathomably powerful couple, Ms. Sanchez Bezos seems to have influenced the Uber right to stop apologizing and start enjoying themselves. Excuse me? Mrs. Bezos? Yeah. As people are struggling to afford groceries, the New York Times wrote, quote, a lot of things make Lauren Sanchez ridiculously happy. Helicopters, fashion, protecting the Norwal, her little sister Elena, her 5 best girlfriends, and of course, her new husband Jeff Bezos. She and Mr. Bezos do everything together. On a typical day, the newlyweds wake up around 6 in their new, roughly $230 million compound in Indian Creek, an exclusive private island in Miami, often called Billionaire Bunker. They don't touch their phones. Instead, they begin each day by listing 10 things they're grateful for, and they can't repeat what they named the day before. I think I just threw up in my mouth. Like a piece of my soul is just trying to exit the building. Oh, please say psych. At first, I thought this piece was a bullshit. And then I realized it was a bullshit. And then I thought it was actually going to touch on reality, but no, didn't happen. I'm pretty sure it's just rage bait.
Shame. 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 Shame.
You're not gonna find me respecting this. I do have one question though. Why is the society trying to normalize 100 billionaires? Why are we trying to make them normal people? They are not, never will be, ain't gonna be, not gonna happen. Why are we trying to normalize this? And that's where I get hung up on the Becca Bloom content of it all. I think normalizing this desensitizes us more and more and more, ever rapidly widening wealth gap. If we normalize that, we become desensitized to it. We allow far more, that we don't pay attention to our elected officials and who we're gonna vote for. We don't pay attention to corruption that's happening. We don't call things out. And I think that gets even more dangerous and puts us in an even more unsafe position than we already are. You might remember back to when Lauren and Jeffrey got married in Venice, Italy. There were citywide protests calling out the unethical amount of money and power that shut down a whole city. And essentially the same happened during the Met Gala. Not that it stopped it.
Protests ranging from the bizarre to the blunt. Critics say Amazon should pay higher taxes. Locals blame it for forcing small shops out of business. And many just object to the opulence of a blowout party for the 1%.
You did it! It's unfathomable how even amidst the entire world calling them out, they seem to be insulated in a bubble of wealth. Again, because we keep normalizing this. The New York Times profile was all about how happy she is to be a billionaire. Quote, the Bezos marriage seems at times as much a cultural inflection point as a love story. The moment American money stopped apologizing and decided it might as well enjoy itself. This is the Gilded Age. This is what the Hunger Games says. This is how everything goes to shit, right? Oh, they might as well just enjoy themselves.
Happy Hunger Games. And may the odds be ever in your favor.
Well, the peasants are crying and dying, darling. At least we look rich.
Guys, you're just talking. Talking la 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 la, like this is business as usual.
We're trying to solve a problem here, Billy.
Not like this, you're not. You're not even looking at the problem.
We're very aware of the problem. I mean,
okay, good. What's the problem?
And in referencing her happiness as above the average person's, love that for her, quote, if her baseline is here, Miss Sanchez Bezos said, holding her hand about her chest height, I'm here with her other hand above her head.
Look, Billy, we all understand what the problem is. We have to replace...
Okay, good. What's the problem?
The problem is we have to replace 3 key players in our lineup. 47 doubles to replace.
The problem we're trying to solve is that there are rich teams and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's us. It's an unfair game.
Y'all, I cannot underscore enough, your favorite billionaire does not give a shit about you. Folks can defend them till the end. They don't care, okay? They care to the point that they can make a lot of money off of you, and then they stop caring. They'll say that they care, but they don't really care, okay?
The Stratus Project is a plan to build a 40,000-acre development near Utah's Great Salt Lake, boosted by government tax incentives, and according to a county fact sheet, is eventually expected to generate and consume up to 9 gigawatts of power once completed, a number MITA, the state entity backing the project, says is more than double Utah's average energy consumption. Hundreds of protesters this week flooded this meeting of Box Elder County Commissioners.
Can you be quiet and let our citizens hear what needs to be said, please?
Environmentalist, and you don't care about that stuff, of course you protest, and that's what happens. I noted, what's happening in Utah right now is we think over 90% of the protesters are actually not people that live in Utah or Box Elder County. They're being bussed in. And so people that live in Utah aren't stupid.
Now, unlike Becca Bloom's online extravagance, Lauren Sanchez Bezos and Jeffrey Pooh are on an entirely other level, but similar to Becca, this New York Times piece received a much more justified wave of backlash.
And then this strange profile of Lauren Sanchez in the New York Times. She was telling everyone how happy she is, which is great, but I don't know what it was there for. But it was like so tone deaf. Like, I'm really happy in our $230 million house in Florida. We do gratitude to each other every morning. Just more of this sort of performative romance with Bezos is so icky. I just didn't understand it.
Now, what's ironic is she says she misses being a reporter, but has retired to basically just enjoy her otherworldly wealth and chip into a few charities.
Yes, and I was watching you guys and I was like, oh, I miss it so much. I did local news for a really long time in Los Angeles and then went to Extra. I tried out for The View a couple times and never made it.
What? They're regretting that now.
We just named like a billion things you're doing, so it's all good. It all worked out for you.
What do you do when your real life exceeds your dreams? Keep it to yourself.
Lauren Sanchez, you have an amazing life. Keep it to your fucking self. It's just gonna make you look like an asshole.
For me, the most poignant critique came from the Jiba Independent Journal that writes, quote, cheering on billionaires is always embarrassing, but at least when Swifties go wild for Taylor, they're supporting someone who makes something tangible that they're invested in. Rihanna fans went on a journey with her as she evolved from island girl to pop legend to queen of a business empire. Sanchez Bezos married the guy she cheated with and then wore a knockoff Grace Kelly princess gown to her wedding to reinvent herself as a blushing bride who fought against non-existent odds. Being the richest does not make you the best, brightest, or most interesting. That's a great line. Even if the economy were booming and Amazon wasn't letting workers suffer, it would be an enormously tacky look. Indeed, therein lies a key issue with Sanchez Bezos' desperate push to make us all like her. Arrogance is cheap. Ooh, there's some bars there. I came to bring the pain, from the brain. Now, if we want to talk about doing rich right, this definitely isn't it. Nowadays, billionaires, I would look at Dolly Parton.
Get away to Dollywood. It's homespun fun. In the heart of the Smokies, 5 miles north of Gatlinburg.
Nowadays, billionaires seem to be so self-absorbed that their charitable giving usually comes in the form of building rocket ships or buying elections. But back in the day, the wealthiest in society got away with their immense wealth by actually sometimes maybe sort of kind of contributing back to society sometimes. Listen, I'm not gonna glaze people here, but we'll give a little history here. First of all, tax rates actually mirrored wealth until they didn't.
And here's the top 400, the richest 400 people. And we're going to look at, here is their tax rate. Federal, state, and local, starting at 10%, going up to 70%. Here we go. Here we go. Isn't that the most amazing thing you've ever seen?
In the Gilded Age era, early 20th century billionaires were not great people, but they would actually bring their resources to the public by building institutions that were helping people get ahead. Again, I'm not glazing any of these problematic figures at all, but to make my point, they actually made some of a difference in communities. For example, John D. Rockefeller created the Rockefeller Sanitary Commission for the eradication of hookworm disease. Andrew Carnegie created thousands of public libraries across the country. The Vanderbilt family gave us Vanderbilt University and the controversial yet beloved national treasure Anderson Cooper.
It's really so stupid.
The list goes on. Lauren Sanchez, Bezos, and Jeff have a history of public-facing philanthropy, like giving grants through the Bezos Earth Fund to help make clothes out of sustainable materials that, you know, can be sold on Amazon and help justify fast fashion. And she's made it a point to do mega publicity on giving away a measly $102 to grants working to fix the unhoused crisis, which is helpful. But when someone has $271 billion, a number that quite literally is impossible for the human brain to comprehend, they should be giving away at the very least, I don't know, $199 billion? Like, you think you could survive on $72 billion, maybe?
We're in a time right now where the world is really, really bad and really dark, and people need empathy and help more than kind of ever, especially in our country. And I'd say if you have money, it would be great to use it for good things and maybe give it to some people that need it. Love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. And if you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire?
And with that, class dismissed. So let me take us out of Petty University and back to the real world, because I want to ask the questions a lot of people are not asking. One of the annoying complexities of the ultra wealthy is that a good deed can still be helpful, even if the system that made it necessary in the first place is deeply broken. Now, I'm, again, not at all sweeping for the ultra wealthy. Y'all should know by now how I feel about like this whole billionaire thing. I'm talking perspectives, and there's this fine line that people often don't want to talk about, so I'm gonna bring it up real quick, and that is the fact that without some of these people's donations, the ultra wealthy donating money, even if they hoard massive amounts of wealth, sometimes their donations are often the only donations that happen at all to organizations, charities, foundations, things that need it. So where does that leave us, right?
Yeah, it's really incredible. The Families Fund is a fund that helps families that are experiencing what we like to call temporary homelessness. And this fund gives to places like the Community of Hope, and it really gets these families off the streets in a stable environment so that they can, you know, move on in a really positive direction.
Where is the satisfaction point that the general public will be happy with when it comes to the wealthy redistributing their wealth? Another question, why do we celebrate some billionaires and praise them for their hard work while attacking other wealthy people who might donate to similar degrees or vastly more? Like, think of Melinda Gates, for example. Like, I don't know the answer to these questions. I don't think there ever is a black and white concrete answer. Everyone's gonna have multiple opinions, but it is important to ask the questions.
We're gonna begin this morning with Taylor Swift officially on the Forbes magazine annual billionaires list. Wow. Taylor enters the list with a net worth of $1.1 billion. Forbes also naming her the most famous newcomer to the list, which also added Magic Johnson and Christian Louboutin to the ranks this year. And while she is not the only musician on the list, Rihanna is on there thanks to her beauty and fashion empire. Taylor is the only musician to reach billionaire status based solely on her day job, if you will.
If Becca Bloom is somehow giving away her jewelry to fans on a constant basis and giving back to her community, is that something to celebrate?
It breaks my heart that in 2026, thousands of women still don't have access to something as basic as washing their face. For cleansers, I focus on one thing. That is removing impurities without compromising the skincare barrier. You can see I'm on my 7th jar. I'll clean.
When wealthy influencers make content out of donating or doing good, is it too performative to exist at all? Sometimes, yes. But like, do we want to see content of their lavish spending more than content about them giving to others? Where is the line drawn? And if men are giving and they are treated like heroes while women doing the same are treated as performative, where's that line?
I built this maximum security.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
The outrage towards Becca Bloom's wealth flexing online is fascinating to me because in the grand scheme of obscene wealth, she is absolutely not the final boss. Her lifestyle doesn't come close to the billionaires actively hollowing out society and wrapping the entire economy around their own excess. But the reaction to her still matters because it reveals that people are exhausted. Vulnerable communities are drowning and hardworking people are being asked to survive inside a system designed to destroy them. It's not that the system is broken, the system is doing exactly as it was designed to do. And as the wealth gap is growing larger every day, the question stops being whether Becca Bloom is personally responsible for all of that pain. The question becomes whether anyone in a world that is unequal can ever truly succeed at doing rich right. And this is what we know. Oh, child, I think that was a lot to unpack. I think we need a bit of a kitty palate cleanser, a rich billing department coming to collect the bills. So excuse the tone shift here, and then I'll conclude with my final thoughts. I want to give a huge thank you to our channel members. I appreciate you all so much. And also to our Patreon members and producers. We have been growing so much on Patreon. We have over 4,000 Patreon members. I am so excited. I love our Patreon community. You can join our Patreon community right now for exclusive access to 4 more videos per month. Yes, you heard me right. I'm posting 4 additional videos per month, including the exclusive Patreon only podcast. I have after school specials, all of the uncensored content that I can't post on this platform. I also have free tiers. I have free content over there. You can sign up for the free newsletter. You can get access to the trailers on Swoop docs before they come out. All of that stuff is available for free, plus the additional support tiers. So thank you so much for all of you for joining our Patreon. Also, if you haven't seen my Epstein documentary, please do give that a watch. As I mentioned, it was heavily suppressed. And I just want to mention again, we are not covering any of the triggering details of what happened to the survivors. I wanted to make this piece as accessible to all of us as possible. We are digging into the conspiracies. We are dispelling misinformation. We are getting into the co-conspirators and stories around all of that and the dark, twisted nature of all of that, because I think it is so important to continue to shine a spotlight on this for the survivors to hold these people accountable. So please do check that out. It will be in the pinned comment and the description as well. You can also grab your pieces from the Worthy collection if you want to support me as a small woman-owned business in my apparel line. We've got the Valid Ribcage collection. These are all designed by me to give you something positive that you can wear, just to remind you how worthy and valid and incredible you are. Please do continue to tag me on your outfit photos. I love to be able to share you on Instagram, my Instagram stories. You can also follow me on Instagram. That is where I post most often. I'm in Instagram stories all the time. I also post on Twitter and Bluesky. All of that is linked below. So be sure to connect with me there. And also, I have a second channel called Swoop 2. Over here, we deep dive. Over there, we dip. They're skinny dips into the unhinged dark waters of the cesspool. They're shorter videos. We have a lot of fun. They're very unhinged, okay? It's chaos. It is the chaos of my mind that's happening over there. Also, don't miss out. Tap my link in the description because my friends at Bellessa and I are literally sending out free toys or gift cards for toys to everyone who signs up to my giveaway. So treat yourself, honey. You deserve it. Ultimately, I think the spectacle of Becca Bloom's RichTok existence is a microcosm of a much larger, more coercive truth, the deep societal exhaustion and anger provoked by a system that not only permits but celebrates the unfathomable hoarding of wealth. When the affordability crisis forces families to skip meals and the wealth gap grows alarmingly wider by the day, the visibility of ultra privilege, whether it's quiet or loud or earned or inherited through alleged financial exploitation, reveals a profound ethical failure on nearly every level. The constant defensive need to justify the existence of a billionaire whose wealth is often taken rather than earned and frequently subsidized by the struggling taxpayer is a distraction from the main question. If a world is structured on the exploitation of humans and a dire wealth disparity, is it even possible for anyone to truly succeed at doing rich right? Or must we acknowledge that the concentration of such extreme wealth is itself a moral indictment of our society? Is the rage against influencers like Becca Bloom, but not other billionaires, misplaced aggression regarding deeper institutional anger that we cannot easily direct at the true perpetrators of economic inequality? Should we accept the logic that philanthropy, no matter how grand, can ever truly atone for a fortune built upon a system that actively impoverishes millions? Ultimately, what is the value of an aspirational lifestyle when that aspiration itself is mathematically mathematically impossible for the vast majority to attain, who are truly the ones building and fueling the entire system that seeks to keep them at the bottom. Perhaps we'll never know, but one thing is for sure, more and more we're starting to peel back the layers of this broken system, and that's when real positive change can begin. And you know, when all else fails, stay ready, stay petty. Class dismissed. Swoop!
It starts with silence.